spring is a natural time for a reset. I know a lot of people like to do a reset in the new year, you're setting new intentions, but I really think that it's more natural to have that reset in the spring. I mean, the days are getting longer, the air feels fresher as the rains come in, you know what I'm talking about, that fresh rain smell, and everything around us is just starting to wake up again at that time of the year. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by your home, your maybe mile-long to-do list, or honestly just life in general, this episode today is specifically for you. Today I'm walking you through a simple 4-step spring reset to help you refocus, clear that mental clutter that you have just circling through your head, and then step into this new season of spring with intention. This isn't about doing more. I never want you to feel like you have to be doing more. I'm always encouraging my listeners to simplify. So this is about creating a space for what truly matters the most. So grab a cozy drink, maybe a warm coffee or a chai latte, and find a quiet spot so that we can get into this reset together. Hey friend, welcome to Modern Homemaker Mom. Feeling stuck in the chaos? Do you find yourself in survival mode juggling all the things? If you're ready to regain control of your home, schedule, and time for yourself, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Jynae, a wife, mom, and homemaker who turned my household chaos into purpose with simple, flexible routines. I'm here to help you create a cozy, clutter-free home and reclaim your time for what matters most. In this podcast, you'll find episodes around home routines, cycle syncing, and self-care practices so that you can eliminate the overwhelm and create a home that you love. Go grab that laundry basket and let's get started. Okay, if you haven't already, I just want to take a super quick minute to invite you to come join my free Facebook group called Simple Home Routines for Homemakers. In there, we talk about homemaking tips. I'm sharing what I'm loving each week. I'm connecting with you and you're connecting with other homemakers just like you who are walking on this homemaking journey. I would love to see you in there. To join, go ahead and click the link in the show notes below. You can scroll down, you'll see it, or just go into your web browser and search bit.ly/home routines and it will take you right there. I would love to see you show up in that group so that we can get to know you there and you can connect with me more, because you know what, podcasting sometimes feels a little one-sided, but here in our Facebook group, you can connect with me and I can get to know you better and I can hear back from you. So go ahead, join me in there. I'd love to see you there. Now let's dive into the topic of today's episode. I love the feeling of a fresh start. Something about new starts, fresh beginnings. It always just feels so good to me. And spring naturally always gives me that sense of renewal. But I know that not everyone feels that way. Maybe you started the year with really big plans, but now we're a few months in and life has felt super messy, maybe even chaotic. Maybe you're behind on those goals that you set in the beginning of the year and your home is starting to feel very overwhelming, or maybe you just feel stuck. This season of my life over the past couple months has been one of the busiest seasons I have been through in a very long time. I have a daughter who is getting close to being a year old. I'm juggling 2 different online schooling that I'm trying to, participate in and show up in and be present and then apply everything that I'm doing. And it's been a lot. On top of that, I'm being a mother and being a homemaker and prioritizing my marriage and my home and all the things. It's just felt very overwhelming. And know what's funny is at the beginning of this year, I set my word of the year to be the word nurture. And if you want to know more about setting a word for the year, because sometimes maybe you're not thinking about it in the winter, you're thinking about it now spring while we're setting new goals and stuff, go back to my episode 13 where I talk all about why every homemaker needs to have a word of the year and my purpose behind setting it for myself. But anyways, my word of the year that I chose for this year was nurture. I felt like God gave me that word. And just a couple weeks ago, as I was feeling so overwhelmed, I got really sick and I was out for 5 days, literally couldn't do a whole lot of anything. And so I felt like leading up to that point, God was really telling me through my husband, through other people, other witnesses, and even through just God himself, I could feel that nudge of, Jynae, you need to slow down. You're going too fast. And I ignored it. So then I got sick and I felt like that was God's way of saying, okay, like you have to stop now. And so when I was sick for 5 days, I laid in bed, laid on the couch with this crazy sinus infection. I had so much time to reflect. And that's when I realized, you know what? I've been telling myself that this is just for a season. It's just for a season that I'm going to be busy. But that went on for 2 months and I was on the brink of burnout. My family was not getting the best of me. I was getting frustrated and I was finding myself being very irritated. And I realized God gave me that word nurture, and this is not nurturing. It's just not. My body's not being nurtured. My mental health is not being nurtured. I'm not nurturing my home and my family the way I've wanted to. And so that's when I decided to make the change. I decided to shift my priorities and everything, and I just gave myself a bit of a reset. And so the reason I'm sharing this story with you is I think it's going to really connect with you and tie into today's teaching about just resetting in this time. So I'm going to be sharing with you today the things that have really helped me get through those tough times, those busy times, those crazy seasons, or even seasons that may feel like they're super heavy. Like these last 2 months, I have felt a little bit like it was life-sucking. I felt like I didn't get to do the things that I loved that really filled my cup, and it's just because I wasn't prioritizing it properly. So that's why I really think it's so important to just sit down and do these simple resets. And because it's spring, I just thought that it was super seasonal to apply it as a spring reset. But honestly, you could do this reset at any time of the year. It doesn't matter if you're listening to me right now in the middle of winter or in the middle of summer. You can do this reset at any time. But I'm just, for the intention of the season that we're in at the time of this recording, I'm calling it a spring reset, because spring, honestly, it just naturally gives you this feeling that you want to reset. So like I said in the intro, this is not about adding more to your plate. It's about clearing space for the things that really matter in your life. It's looking at your priorities. And for me, this reset always involves a lot of prayer, a lot of conversation with God, journaling, and being super intentional of where I'm putting my focus, where my priorities lie. So today, I'm going to walk you through that simple 4-step reset to your heart, your home, and your mind in this season of your life. Okay, so step number 1 is I want you to go and revisit your goals and acknowledge the progress that you've already made. Now, I would really highly suggest that as you're listening to me, if you're able, of course, if you're driving or you're washing dishes and your hands aren't able to write, don't do that. But I would really encourage you to maybe pause me and save this specific episode for a time when you can take notes, because I think it will be really beneficial for you to reference these notes as you're going through this reset yourself. So, what I need you to do is go back on the goals that you set at the beginning of this year. If you maybe set, everyone's setting those New Year's resolutions, go back. Where do you stand? Like, where are we at with these goals? Did you go hard in the first couple weeks, even the first month, maybe 2 months, and now you find that you're falling off track? You're maybe not going as in the direction that you kind of planned that you would go. But at the same time, when you're journaling all this out, you're writing down like, how am I going with these goals that I set? How are we doing? Even if you aren't going in the exact direction that you had planned, just give yourself some grace. That's okay. Like I said, when I set my word of the year at the beginning of January, I had made my word to be nurture. And in choosing that word as my word of the year, I had planned to make more time for creativity, for intentional, simple joys, intentional, simple moments, like that sort of thing. And then when I was finding myself going through this crazy busy season, February was so busy, and now we're almost at the end of March, and March up until about a week ago was incredibly busy as well. And it's okay. Like, you know what? We all make mistakes. We learn from our mistakes, though. I do not regret the fact that I went through this busy season and I made choices to make me very busy. I don't regret that, and I don't feel guilty about that, because I think through every experience that we go through in life, God's there, and He knows that we were going to go through that. He knows the beginning from the end. He knows what you're going to do before you know what you're going to do. He knows those steps that you're going to take, and He can turn everything around for good. And in doing that, He can teach you lessons as long as you're willing to hear the lessons that He's trying to teach you. And so for me, I learned that, you know what? I control how much I put on my plate. I control what I do in a day. And if that means that I need to set my priorities and boundaries in a different way so that I'm not feeling so overwhelmed and so loaded, that's up to me. It's not up to anybody else to tell me if I'm doing too much or if I'm doing too little of something. I just need to set that for myself, and then also give myself grace. I mean, yes, we go through busy seasons. Like I said to myself, it's one thing if I would have gone through a couple weeks, even a week, maybe even 3 weeks of really this busy season. But it's another thing when it's literally consuming my life and we're going on 2 months of being so busy that I'm starting to feel like a candle burning at both ends. That's when I start to need to take a change and relook at what I'm doing. And I know it's so easy to focus on the negatives. It's easy to look at those to-do lists that you had and just think and focus on the things that you didn't get done. You see, maybe you got done 6 things on your list of 10 things, and you're feeling so discouraged because you didn't get those 4 things done in the time frame that you gave yourself. But I think it's so incredibly important that we actually acknowledge and just pat ourselves on the back for those 6 things that we did get done on our list. It is what continues to give us that encouragement to go, to keep going, to go forward, to continue doing what we're doing. And if we get so stuck on the things that we didn't get done, it discourages us and it gets us into that really negative mindset. So the action step I want you to take for this step 1 is I want you to take a few minutes to reflect on the progress that you've made so far this year. I want you to journal this out, even if it feels small. Write down the things that you are proud of from the past few months. I don't care if it's as simple as I sat in the sun and watched the sunset go down in my living room because it was winter over the last few months, and I was just present in that moment. I read to my child a lot, and they loved that moment, that one-on-one time. Like, I loved that. I made homemade from scratch meals or hot, warm meals, and I served that to my family at least one day a week. Like, those are all small things, but really they're not small things because they really make up a huge part of who you are. They make up a huge part of your life. But I just want you to sit down and journal as much as you can. Write down all of the positive things, the progress that you've made over the last few months, even if it feels small. Okay, step number 2 I have for you to go through this spring reset is set new intentions for this upcoming season of spring. Spring naturally brings this shift in rhythms. So what do you want this next season to look like for you and your home, your household, your family? Think about your home, your routines, your time with your family, what needs adjusting. Naturally, we're indoors more in the winter. We're maybe doing less. And maybe when spring comes, you're ready to declutter. You're ready to refresh your spaces. You're ready to get out more, take your kids to the park, go to the library. Like, your routines, your rhythms, they're naturally going to shift. So what needs adjusting here? Set those new intentions. And this doesn't mean that you're just scrapping everything that you're already doing. It just means that you're being more intentional. You're focusing your priorities maybe a little different. You're just shifting your priorities to what's coming next. So the action step I want you to take here is to write down in this journal that you were already writing in. With step 1, for step 2, your action step is to write down 2 to 3 simple intentions for this new season. An example could be, and I don't want you to feel like this is like a huge thing, like it can be something simple. Remember, I'm always about simplicity here. Maybe one of the intentions you have for this upcoming spring season is, I want to try to implement more slow mornings with my kids. I want to spend more time outside. I want to read through maybe a book that I haven't gotten through. Maybe you're halfway through and I want to finish that book. I want to declutter one space in my kitchen, or I want to declutter and organize one space in my closet. I want to go through my clothes. I want to purge my clothes as I'm shifting from my winter clothes and I'm getting those out into storage and I'm bringing in the summer clothes. I want to go through my clothes and I want to purge through them. Just write down an intention or a list of intentions. Just write down whatever you can think of for your new intentions for this upcoming season. Step number 3, and this is a favorite of mine. Honestly, this activity is so powerful when I do this. It is like amazing. Okay, so let me share it with you. Step number 3 is I want you to brain dump every single thing that's on your mind. I do not do this enough, but I've been implementing it more, especially as I said, I've been going through this busy season. And naturally, when life feels busy, life feels chaotic, it feels a little overwhelming, it feels a little out of hand, you naturally get more stressed. You're feeling maybe a little anxious and overwhelmed. And so there's these things that just thoughts and worries and stresses, they're circling through your mind. And I think as women, it just really helps to get those thoughts out of our mind and onto paper. I feel like, for me personally anyways, when I get my thoughts out of my head and onto paper, it's like I can release those thoughts. And I can also look down at my paper. I can read what I've brain dumped on my paper, my stresses, my worries, things I'm thinking about often, things that are often circling through my head, maybe things that I've been feeling like I need to pray about. And I can look at it on the paper, and now I can look at it with more of a logical mindset instead of this, it's so easy as a woman to get caught up in our emotional side of attachment to these things, to these thoughts. We get emotionally attached to them. But when I get these thoughts out of my head and I put it on paper, I can look at it for how it is. And I can circle the things that are important. I can just visibly see, like, okay, I'm seeing a theme here. Like, here's a theme. Here's a common denominator. Now, what do I need to do to shift that? What do I need to maybe eliminate from my life? Where are some boundaries I need to set? What's something that I'm stressing about and it's really unnecessary? Or what are the stresses here that I really just need to bring to God? Or, like, there's so much. What can I talk about to my husband about this? Like, what should I be bringing to my husband? What advice should I get from my husband or a close friend or even some Christian leadership? Like, what can I do with these thoughts? Just get them out of your head. So you can just go ahead, take a piece of paper and literally write down everything that's been on your heart, in your head, circling through your mind. And this isn't about filtering your thoughts. Like, this is a brain dump. This is being raw and honest and transparent about the things that are running through your head. So your action step for this is to just take some time. I want you to maybe put on a quiet instrumental playlist while the baby's napping, while the kids are maybe quietly playing in their rooms or playing outside. I need you to do this when you're by yourself so you can just dedicate the time to really empty your mind so that you can clearly see what actually needs your attention, and then write everything down in this journal. And like I said, don't filter anything out. Just get it out of your head. Write it out on the paper as you are seeing it and hearing it in your mind. Okay, step number 4, our final step, is journal and pray. So now that we've brain dumped, we've set new intentions for the season, and we've revisited our goals, we've done this like kind of a heart check, like we've seen how things are going. Now I want you take this time to turn it into a conversation with God. It's natural because we're naturally bent towards sin. We're naturally bent to stress about things, to get overwhelmed about things, but it's all about how we handle that emotion, that thought, that thing that we're going through. And so if you can take these negative things that you're going through, or even maybe it's a positive thing, I just want you to turn it into this conversation with God. And I have found personally that journaling always makes me have this connection, like I'm having a conversation with God. And so I have just found that it's like a reset button. Like, journaling is just like a reset button. It really helps you to process those emotions, to reflect on your intentions and your priorities and where you're pouring your energy into. And it helps you to really connect with the Lord in a different way, because I think it's about the act of journaling is you can't multitask when you're journaling. Like, you just can't. You have to be intentional about it. You have to sit down. You have to grab that pen or that pencil and start writing on paper. Like, you can't be distracted. And so I think that's why it's so much easier to connect with the Lord and just to hear what He is saying to you and write down how He's telling you to go about this change that you need to take, or how to set priorities with this, or how to decide on what boundaries need to be put in place. So your action step I want you to take for this step here is set aside at least 10 minutes. Ideally, I would say at least 30 minutes, and just use your brain dump as a guide. You can reference that list because that's where you're going to see a lot of the things that you need to be praying about, a lot of the things that you need to just leave at God's feet and ask God for guidance in this area of your life, and just talk about what is on your heart to God and ask Him for clarity in this new upcoming season of your life. So that concludes all the steps I have for you for this spring reset. Like I said, it's a spring reset, but it's just a reset in general. The 4 steps for this reset. And so to go over the steps that we talked about, in case you need a refresh and maybe you want to journal it down again, is step number 1, I want you to revisit your goals and acknowledge the progress that you've already made thus far in the year or over the past season that you just went through. And remember to give yourself grace. And if you need to pivot, you can go ahead and pivot if it's needed. Step 2 is set new intentions for the season ahead. Decide on what really matters when you're moving forward. And step 3 is all about brain dumping everything. Clear out that mental clutter. Get the thoughts out of your head and onto paper. And then step 4, our final step, is journal and pray. Reset your heart and bring everything before God. Ask Him for direction as you are going through this next season. Ask Him to help you get through this next season. Give you clarity on where you need to be putting your energy and your focus. So I hope this simple reset has really helped you step into this spring feeling super lighter and more focused of what truly matters if you go ahead and you take the action steps that I suggested that you take today. I know it's going to make you feel like you have just released this heavy burden that's been weighing on you. You're going to release it off of your shoulders. I went through this reset very recently, honestly just a couple weeks ago, and I feel like a new person. In fact, my husband has said to me multiple times, Jynae, you seem so much happier. You seem so much more full of life. And it just makes me feel so good inside to know that I personally know that I feel better, but others are also seeing it as well. And so if you go through these 4 steps, these 4 simple steps we talked about today, I know that you are going to feel that same way. You're going to feel lighter and refreshed. If you loved this episode, if it blessed you, if it inspired you, and you maybe have a friend who could use this advice, who could use this soft encouragement, and you think that it would bless them, go ahead and share it with them. I would love to be able to help as many women as possible because I know this has been such a beneficial 4-step process for me, and I would love to help other women go through it as well. So go ahead, share it with them, and also don't forget to subscribe to my show. Hit the follow button at the top of your screen so that you don't miss out on the new episodes I have coming out every single week. I love when you tune into me. I love that you show up and you're so dedicated and you're supporting me here. It means the world, and it really helps my show to grow when you're tuning in, you're listening through the episodes, you're subscribing, you're sharing with a friend. It just helps this show to grow, and it really gets the show in front of more eyes and ears. I guess more ears because we're not watching anything, we're listening, but I just feel so grateful that you're here supporting me. So thanks so much. I'll see you in next week's episode. Before you go, if this podcast has encouraged or helped you in any way, the best way that you can show your support is by subscribing to the show and leaving a written 5-star review. Your words truly make my day and remind me why I love sharing here. You can also snap a screenshot of this episode and share it with a friend or post it to your Instagram stories. Make sure to tag me at Her Stable Home. Thanks so much for listening, friend. I will see you next time.